Hi, friends and family. So excited to spend time with you. So we're back on the footnotes. This is part 2 of our footnotes till we get caught up to where we're supposed to be. And just before we get into the Bible, look at it. Isn't it so pretty? It's not something you see often or, something that I do. But since Mary Kay, like I said, it's a me season, and I have to go get gas, I have to go do things, and I want to pass out some cards, so yay, I'm pretty today. Like I said, not something often that happens, but makeup just enhances the beauty. It gives us confidence. Women wear makeup for other women, so give each other compliments. Some get jealous, and I don't like that, but yeah, I have my liquid eyeliner, my Starry Night eyeshadow. Hold on, said that wrong. Liquid eyeshadow, shimmer glitter eyeshadow. I forgot the name of it. And Starry Night eyeshadow. I did have the lipstick, but I've been drinking my coffee, so it's still a little bit on there, but it was a lip crayon. That's pretty, right? Sorry, there's like stuff under my table. Like, what's going on? Shoes, boys' shoes. But yeah, look, it's so pretty. The eyeliner, you can't see the mascara. New to makeup, right? So, like I said, I used to beg my mother to wear makeup, and then she said, "Oh, you're so pretty for makeup." And now, like, God's like, well, yeah, you're beautiful, but, we want you to be confident as well. So, there we go. Even though, putting it on doesn't make me confident at all. It's the after, right? Because putting it on is like, what am I doing? I don't even know what I'm doing. And then it's like, look at that. It's so pretty, right? It's so pretty. All right, friends. Oh, and look at for anybody who's grieving, lost a loved one, hugs from heaven. It's an angel wings. You can't really see it. Meh. Angel wings. And it has his name on it. Can you see it? Oh. Nope, we can't really. Oh, yeah. I know, it was hard to take a picture too. It's like, ugh. But anyways, it took a little bit to come in. I ordered it on the 3rd, and it came. I can't do it. And it came yesterday. I did order it a little big, but whatever. But how do we? His name's right there. See the angel wings, and then it's got like diamonds all the way around. It's very pretty, actually. One diamond there, one diamond, and then the set in diamond, and then the 2 wings. And his name is right there on the back. It says Danny, because that's what I called him. But anybody who's grieving, I can share that with you for the link. We're back on our footnotes for our Bible, spending time with God. I love it. I love it. I love it. I took my medicine, so I shouldn't be getting right. I hate it so much. I sincerely don't like to be on medicine, but apparently that's what God says I need right now, to be able to get through, everything that I'm getting through. So today we have Noah. We're on Noah. And then, like I said, we're going to have a couple. The Tower of Babel, my favorite. So, Noah, in contrast to sin depicted in the early chapters, Noah was righteous and blameless. This is in Genesis chapter 6, verse 9. His faith, no doubt mocked by others as he built his enormous boat, was rewarded when God, heartbroken, 6:6, resolved to destroy sinful humanity and start again. That is the cats going crazy. You got them a new toy, and they're just shh. Sorry. Heartbroken, resolved to destroy sinful humanity and start again. Noah obeyed God. So before we get on really quick, so Noah's faith, no doubt mocked by others as he built this enormous boat. I've been reading Acts, the Domino Effect devotional in the YouVersion Bible app, and it's reading Acts. And do you know what happened with Paul and the whole religion and everything? Like, that's what the Bible... My brother asked, too, about that yesterday. Like, why does bad things have to happen in order to see God? And I think it's because it's in Genesis, right? Because the world was falling as soon as Adam and Eve ate the apple. First of all, they didn't trust God enough to, that he would provide for their needs. They didn't trust in him. So that's where it started, I believe. Men and women didn't trust in God. And then it goes, the Bible says a lot of stories like that Jesus' whole purpose to live was to preach that he was going to die and rise again. Right? There is a one true God, and I am him, he is I, and you can't come to the Father except through me. You have to believe that I am truly God, and that I'm going to die, and I'm going to rise again. Death is not going to hold me, right? That's the whole point of the Bible. And it says about the people that didn't believe it, right? Religious leaders, God's chosen people, it says. God's chosen people, anointed, appointed by the people. How, says it over and over again. People that believed in God. People that claimed to be priests. They were plotting to kill Paul because they couldn't. There's people dying and rising again, or a person, anybody, come on. But how many times, right? So not only, right? Oh man. Oh, sorry. I'm trying to get it. But not only did Jesus die and rise again, before he didn't he raise two people? He raised Lazarus from the dead 4 days after he died. And then something with an E. Elisha with the bones, right? They threw the dead man in the coffin, not knowing it had the bones of Elisha, and he rose. He was decomposed, right? I want to get into that. I didn't really fully read that story yet. But oh my God, isn't that crazy? Dry bones to life. Lazarus 4 days, Jesus 3 days. So the fact that people want to put a religion on it, that's where I think the differential comes from, and why people say they claim to be with God and they want, I don't know how to explain it, but it says with God, all things are possible. There's nothing too impossible for God. So the fact that God came to die, right? What was Jesus' last words? Jesus' last words as they were throwing lots to get his clothes, which, seriously, dude, come on. Isn't that what we do, though? That's what we do. I feel like that's what people do. I know with my mom, it kind of was like that, but not too much. But, we fight over people who are passing. We fight over their stuff. That's crazy. That's crazy. And that's what they were doing to Jesus. And what did Jesus say? I was counting the words. It's too many, but I was going to say 4 words, 3 or 4 words. But God, forgive them. They know not what they're doing. God, forgive them. They know not what they're doing. And he breathed his last breath. That's insane, That's what I mean. I think that's where the Bible and the differential and all this stuff comes from. These cats are going crazy. I open the window. It's they are on it today. But anyways, that's where I think the sad part comes in, is that the church preaches about Jesus, but people don't want to believe that, the whole purpose of Jesus's life was to preach that he was going to die and rise again, that there is a God, that there is a creator. So now that we're back, on Noah. So Noah, that's that, you know what I mean? No doubt people have mocked Noah for believing in God and what God had told him. That there's a book, Joyce Myers, that I've been reading too. I've been, bouncing books. Crap, now it just went out my mind, but that she said, really, it just went out my mind. But I feel like I gotta get the book now, but I don't know. Can I pause it? I don't think I can pause it. Crap. Okay. Unamas. Okay. Back. So this is the book I got for Christmas from my prayer people. I love it so much. They would pass out books for everybody. So 20 ways to make every day better. About God speaking to you. Oh my God. Why did I lose that? So, no doubt mocked by others, right? So Noah, God spoke to Noah. And God will speak to you through his word. God will speak to you through internal peace. God will speak through wisdom and common sense. God will speak to you through all eternal, still, small voice. Hold on, say that again. God will speak to you through an internal, still, small voice. It's a two-way street, right? As you can see, having a conversation with God is a two-way street. It's not just telling God all the things you need. It's not just sitting in silence waiting for something to happen. Prayer is about talking and then listening as you go about your day. And just like any other relationship, talking and listening is critical if you want to go closer, if you want to grow closer together. So I just thought that was amazing, like, right? Because we mock each other. Like, I don't know, for me, honestly, God has talked to me my whole life and I just didn't know that it was true. Like I said before, if you follow me on my podcast, he told me about my husband. And when me and my husband got together, he told me that I would own a house at 35. And I did not believe him. I don't know what this... Hopefully it doesn't record that, but I didn't believe him. I never thought I would own a house, ever. Would I thought that I would own a house. And not only did I ever think that I would own a house, I would less than $10,000. I have an attic, a basement. We've made it into 3 bedrooms, an office. No, 3 bedrooms upstairs and an office. I haven't decided what we're doing with the attic yet, but I mean, a basement, an attic. We have 3 porches. 3, not 1, not 2, but 3 porches. 2 with the doors and 1 right here. Not literally here, but this is, we're in the dining room, kitchen area. And then this bathroom. And then there's a porch right there. And there's a porch here. And there's a porch in my front door. Like, my house is huge, and God blessed me with it. Like, that's insane. Like, that's insane. Where I came from, houses, even something this big, oh my God, something this big, and the condition that we bought it in, right? We bought it at $7,500, and the condition we bought it in, if it was back where we were, it would have been at least $100,000, at least. And that's insane. Like, that's insane. Like, it's just crazy that people want to put, you know what I mean? I don't know, that if you know the Bible, and that's the phrase that nothing is too impossible for God. Nothing, not one thing is impossible for God. So the fact that people don't want to believe in the impossible, that's who God is the impossible, makes things possible, makes everything possible. So, he was mocked by others because he believed in God. So, resolved to destroy sinful humanity and start again, Noah obeyed God, gathering his family and the animals, right? And the animals. Didn't just grab the humans, he grabbed the animals too, because we are all supposed to be in one coexistence. So, into the ark he had made and staying there until it was safe to come out around a year after the rains had begun. So, can you imagine taking care of every single animal that was to populate the world with those kind of animals for a whole year? Like, can you imagine, like, just floating on the land and the water and having to take care of every single animals? If you think of the I don't know how many animals there was back then, but I mean, animals and birds in the sky, like, if you really think about it, it's like 3 people, right? No, wait. He had 3 sons. Noah had 3 sons and their wives. So that's 6 people. And him and his wife. That's, what, 6, 7, 8? 6 plus 2, duh. 8 people taking care of every single animal. Cleaning their nastiness. Giving them food, water. What if they got sick? What happened? Like, for a whole year just floating on the water. That's crazy, right? Noah's first response on leaving the ark was to build an altar to God. Noah's first response was to build an altar to God in chapter 8, verse 20. And God responded by making a covenant. My favorite. Responded by making a covenant, not just with Noah, but with all humanity, right? With all humanity, marked by the sign of the rainbow. Chapter 9, verses 1 through 17. Oh, chapter 9, verses 1 through 17. God confirms his covenant. Yes, this rainbow is a sign of the covenant I am confirming with all of the creatures on earth. Say that one more time. Then God said to Noah, yes, this rainbow is a sign of the covenant I am confirming with all the creatures on earth. Can you think, like, what does animals do? Animals even notice the rainbows? And how do they see the rainbows? Because, you know, they see different than we see different, right? That's crazy, though. Do you think about that? Like, it's crazy. And they sense, right? So animals don't have a voice. They bark, meow, or whatever noise they make, but animals understand each other, right? They speak a different language, but they understand because it's not a word, it's a feeling. And people, I think, too, they don't like that, like, you know, don't want to believe that magnetic fields is real, and it is real, honey. It's real. We are all connected. The animals, the plants, and everything is all connected. That whatever you want to call it, God power is real, yo. It is real, right? So, marked by the sign of the rainbow, Noah's faith became noteworthy for generations to come. Say that again. So how, right? Listen. So Noah's faith became noteworthy for generations to come. The only people that were there to speak on Noah's behalf was his children. So can you, like, You got to teach your kids right, dude. You got to teach your children right. And they will spread little seeds, man. Just like, when God says spreads the seeds, he means to spreads the seeds. And he will give you opportunities to preach. I promise you. He has done that for me. I've been preaching to my brother. I've been preaching to these people. Like, they have questions. And I love that God gives me the answers. You know, like, I don't know the truth. I don't know any more than you do. All I do is I open my book and I read it. And that's where I find my truth. You can only find your truth by reading and spending time with God. Because our truths, The truth is not the same for everybody because we're all different. Remember what it said? We were made to be different, but complement each other, right? So, like, my truth is not your truth, and your truth is not my truth. What if we were all the same, but in different kinds of ways, right? Imagine that. Imagine that. So, see Hebrews chapter 11 and 7, and then it says, see the flood and the ark, which we just read on our last thing. The Tower of Babel, yo. You know why I love the Tower of Babel? And if you follow along with me, then you would know why I love the Tower of Babel. Because that's how God showed me who he really is. Like, I didn't know, like I said, I did not know that God was talking to me until my Cameron was about 2 or 3 years old. And I was like, I hated my life. Like, I hated going home. I hated living with what I was doing. It was a nightmare that I was living in. And it wasn't good. So I would pray and I would pray. And he's like, well, I would get this feeling and this thought and this, like, pulling me, when I went past the road, and I just felt a pulling, like, turn, hello, I'm telling you to turn, go see this man. And I'm like, but I don't want to. And I do that now. Like I said, I fight with God quite often, and it's not okay. But the whole, the one that he wrenched his hip, I walk with a limp because me and God are fighting. Like, that's what I do. I walk with a limp. I can't help it. Me and God fight all the time because that's just, it's, he tells me to do one thing and I don't, and he's like, well, I told you, then it would ended up like this, right? So I went to this church for 3 years, about 3 years, just about every single day, Monday and Wednesday. I think it was 3 days a week. I think it was Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. No, oh my God. Sunday, Wednesday, and Friday. I went to this church, and you know what? They didn't speak English most of the time. They speak English sometimes, but for the most time, they didn't speak English. There is a Portuguese-speaking church, so I had to wear the headset. The thing, man, oceans. Spirit, lead me where my trust is without borders. Let me walk across the waters, wherever you may call me. Take me deeper than my feet could ever walk. I can't remember it because it's not there, but that's the Oceans song. And he sang it to me. And these women, God, were they so beautiful. I love that so much because it does say in the Bible, to sing. It doesn't say to dance, but they danced to it. And they had like this like ocean view. Like, it was, oh my God, it was gorgeous. They had the most beautiful dresses and they just like wavy, I don't know, like the flag things that they do. It was the greatest thing ever. And like I said, I was pregnant with my son, and I was praying and I was crying that God, I don't have anything. I'm back and forth between Alabama and Massachusetts. I drove down there and came back up here, and I had a little Ford Focus. I was pregnant with my youngest. And, we didn't have anything. And God just like, I got you. Literally. He literally, oh my God. Literally. It was like 2 or 3 months I was in Alabama. No involvement with DSS, nothing. So I came back. And like I said, I didn't have anything. I was living with my mom. I didn't even have my own apartment. I didn't have a job. I don't have anything. My car was about to be repossessed, or should have been repossessed, like a year ago. And, it didn't get repossessed until like later. But, I called the social worker back, and it was Christmas time, I believe. It was around Christmas time, And they gave me everything that I needed for my family, for my children. God provided me with a house. It was a 2-year waiting list. I got it within 3 months. Like, people will say things to you and you just have to believe in God. And I didn't, I can't say that I trusted him. I didn't know that that was what it was. But when you feel that peace within you, that's what I've learned, is that God gives you a sincere peace, that you can't explain it. Like, that's what I mean. Like, I don't understand what the anxiety is right now, but it's apparently a trauma response from what I experienced a few months ago. So, again, we have the Tower of Babel. And I just love it because even recently when, my husband acted up, God provided me and my children a ride home from Dunkirk. Again, I told you guys this before if you follow along with me. If not, well, it's a new story. He provided us a ride when my husband wanted to act up and give in to his demons. Lady didn't speak English, and he provided me a ride home. So it does not matter. God does not speak a single language. God has given us the languages to speak to each other, to encourage each other, to beautify each other, to make each other confident in Jesus, not in each other, not in confidence in the world. We have to be confident in the creator of the words. Every word that we speak has power, not magic. Those little girls, oh, I wish I had a bucket of chicken, and no, not magic. Power. Learn the difference. There's a big difference. And normally people that want power is a bad thing, but it's not that we want power. We're giving God the power to work with us. So that's why the words, God is the words, the breath that we speak. What's the word? God is the word. What's the word? God. So the Tower of Babel, Tower of Babel was a ziggurat. A multi-storied temple tower with a square base, increasingly smaller levels, and a religious shrine on the top. So that's what a ziggurat is. People originally all spoke one language. Isn't that crazy? That's crazy. We all spoke one language. What language do you think that would be? Definitely, I don't think it's English. I don't think it would be English. So in their pride, conceit, and insecurity. Say that one more time, yo. In their pride, conceit. You conceited, right? Conceit and insecurity. The people thought that they could become famous and boast of their great human reputation as a result of their building projects. So, yeah. God had to come down. Listen, God had to come down to solve the problem. Listen. To impose some discipline on the unruly mob, right? I seen this guy, man, oh my God, it was hilarious. It was awesome, talking about a mom who had disciplined her son because he was like, they were in a Dollar General and he asked for a toy and she said no, and he just like wiped everything off the table, off the counters, and she threw her hair up and disciplined her son. And then some other parent who was coming around the corner saw it and ended up having to call the cops, and not having to, but, stuck her nose where it didn't belong. And in the end, I guess the little boy, they both had little boys, right? So the little boy that ended up getting disciplined punched the other little boy because he was laughing at him for crying, for being scared that they called the cops on him. And, that's a scary situation. So, this is the whole thing, too. People putting their nose where it don't belong. If it's not your child and not your business, you know what I mean? And maybe if you see blood and you see something bleed, you know what I mean? But somebody to, like, discipline your child, you just smack them in the face, right? They didn't smack them in the face. There was no marks. There was nothing. You tap them on their butt, right here. God had to come down had to come down to solve the problem and impose some discipline. Like, you gotta be disciplined. You gotta discipline your children, right? So he imposed some discipline on the unruly mob. The result was a confusion of languages, which was miraculously overcome centuries later at the Pentecost. When the Holy Spirit enables the apostles to speak in a variety of languages to tell the crowd what God has done in Jesus. Say that. Remember the tongues? I don't know God and I've never spoken in tongues, but like, remember that story? And they're like, how are they speaking our language? Because God gave us language to speak. And he took it away. Just like everything, right? He took it away. He made us confused. Like, I don't know what you're saying how many times. And I see this all the time. It really aggravates me, though. Like, sincerely. I was a customer service person for a while. And we had to get trained on accents. And had to listen to different accents and, practice and stuff. But I keep seeing this thing about people with accents. And there was, like, 2 Spanish people with 2 different accents. And, like, they were like making fun of each other, and it's sad. And one lady I saw, like I said, I've seen a couple of them, and one lady was like, oh God, I want somebody who's in America. I'm in America, like, just because somebody has an accent doesn't mean you're not an American. Like, that's what I mean. Just people put their own thoughts on things, and the Bible clearly says more and more and more that it is not for us to decide. It is not for you to make a comment on. If it's not said in the Bible, then you shouldn't say it out loud. Like, it's, you know what I mean? You have your own opinions, and that's good, but God confused us for a reason. I don't know. So now we're in Ur. Remember Ur is the prosperous city in southern Mesopotamia and the origin home of Abraham's family. And the original home of Abraham's family. In Genesis chapter 11, 11 verse 28 and 15 verse 7. 11:28, we're on 11:28 will be right there. But Haran died in Ur of the Chaldeans, the land of his birth, while his father Terah, was still living. It was a famous center for the worship of the moon god, known as Sin or Nana, whose symbol was the crescent moon. So it's almost certain that Abraham, too, would have been a moon worshiper. Listen to that, man. So that's another thing. Do you really know who you're worshiping when you worship on Sundays versus keeping the Sabbath on Saturdays? Do you know why every day, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, do you know what that means? Friday, Sat, your day. Do you know? Like, do you know? Do you know? Once you know, you know. Look at, why was I doing that? Should have put a clip. But anyways. So, a moon worshiper. Did they know that they were moon worshipers? I don't know. It doesn't say that, right? So, Abraham would have been a moon worshiper when God revealed himself to him. For by no means the last time, the Bible shows us that no one is ever beyond God's reach. For by no means, the last time, the Bible shows us that no one, not a single person, is beyond God's reach. Well, I guess they found a hole to go play in too. I thought I closed it off. All right, now we're on Abraham, because that's where it said too, right? It said see Abraham, page 16, and that's where we're at. So Abraham's first called Abram. What do you think that means? So, because you changed my name. I love that song too. You changed my name. So, Too Far Gone. I forgot what it is now because, the beat's not there. But, um, silly kitty cats. So Abraham, first called Abram, was the man who God called to be the father of people of Israel. Even though Abraham did not know God, God revealed himself to him and called him to leave his home in Ur, promising him a new land, many descendants, a great name. I don't know, man. I told you the significance with names, man. Oh, it's something. And that he would become a blessing to many people. His faith and obedience in responding to God's call is often commended in the Bible, and he held up an example to be followed in Romans chapter 4, verses 1 through 25, in Galatians chapter 3, verses 6 through 9, and in Hebrews chapter 11, verses 8 through 19. But when it seemed that his wife Sarah, right, Sarah would never have children to inherit God's blessing, they tried to help God out. They tried to help God out, right? Didn't trust in him. So they helped him out. Sarah gave her servant girl Hagar to Abraham as a second wife. There we go again. There's that, sleep with her, to make a baby. That's for a wife, right? For a wife. Says it right there. Right there. Hagar to Abraham as a second wife. And so Ishmael was born, from whom the Arab nations are descended. But an angel told Sarah that a son would be born to Abraham and herself. Even in their old age, God kept his promise, and Isaac was born to them in Genesis chapter 21, verses 1 through 5, causing both joy and tension, right? Remember, joy and tension between the two boys and their mothers. Later, Abraham's faith would be severely tested when God asked him to sacrifice Isaac, an incident that showed both Abraham's resolute faith and God's ability to surprise us. Say that, man. Oh, man. God's ability to surprise us in chapter 22, verses 1 through 19. It says, Seor, we already read. Lot, we're reading next. Ishmael, Sarah, Isaac, and Rebekah. Faith and world of the patriarchs map. Ooh, there's a map visual overview on Z2. We'll get to that. But now we have Lot. Ooh! When Abraham moved to Canaan in obedience to God, Lot, his nephew, went with him in Genesis chapter 12, verse 5. But these chapters give the impression that he simply seemed to tag along rather than going in faith. When increasing livestock numbers led them to separate in chapter 13, Abraham and Lot separate, Lot chose with his eyes rather than with his heart. How many times have we done that? I know for me. He selected land near Sodom. Oh boy, Sodom and Gomorrah. Woo-hoo! South of the Dead Sea, which was fertile but immoral. Say that. Sodom, south of the Dead Sea, which was fertile but immoral, unstable, and headed for disaster. God rescued him from his foolishness. First, through Abraham from Chedorlaomer's attack in chapter 14. It says Abraham rescues Lot. And then through angels from God's judgment in chapter 19, verses 1 through 29. His daughters were just as faithless. Do you remember? Oh my God. Can you imagine? Can you imagine? His daughters were just as faithless, getting Lot drunk. Do you remember the story of Lot? Like, that's crazy. Getting Lot drunk and become pregnant by him. Their sons became the ancestors of the Moabites and the Ammonites. Abraham, it says see Abraham, which we just read, and then Sodom and Gomorrah. Now we're on the covenants. Binding commitments made between two or more parties were very common in the ancient Near the East. Covenants were ratified in several different ways. Sharing a meal, right? Sharing a meal in Genesis chapter 26, verses 28 through 31. I don't think we've gotten there yet. Offering a sacrifice, taking an oath, or performing the ritual described in Genesis 15. And I believe that is when they had to get circumcised. I'm trying to see right now. So we got the thing, blessings, descendants, servants. No, your servants will not be your heir. You will have a son. Swoop down on the carcasses, chase them away. Strangers in a foreign land. Be set slaves for 400. Remember that? That was crazy. In 4 generations, return to the land. Smoked fire pit, flashing torches between the halves of the carcasses. The Lord's covenant with Abraham that day. I have given you land to your descendants all the way from the border of Egypt to the great Euphrates River. So that's the covenant there. In this type of ritual, animals were cut in half, and the halves were laid out opposite one another. Both participants then walked between the divided animals. Through the flowing blood, can you imagine? Oh my God. A declaration that death from them two was the only outcome of breaking the covenant. That's a little extreme and gross, but that was God, right? In Genesis 15, however, only God, symbolized by fire, right, passed between the animals while Abraham could only watch in his dream. What does that mean, right? This underlined the fact that he could bring nothing to the covenant that God was making with him. Say that one more time. This underlined the fact that he could bring nothing. He couldn't bring, Abram could not bring anything to the covenant that God was making with him. Covenant is a constant theme in scripture, right? It is. Some key covenants include those God made with Moses and Israel in Exodus chapter 19, verses 1 through 8. And with King David, 2 Samuel chapter 7, verses 1 through 16. The prophets often challenge God's people. Say that, man. Prophets, right? Prophets often challenge God's people that they were breaking God's covenant with them through their disobedience, and their judgment would surely come unless they repented, right? Eventually, the covenant became so disregarded that it could no longer be restored, but only replaced. Say that, man. Oh, God. It couldn't be restored, but only replaced. Jeremiah prophesies God would make a new covenant with his people in Jeremiah chapter 31 through 34, written in their hearts. That's why God judges the thoughts and attitudes of your hearts. And Ezekiel saw this new covenant would be the work of God's Spirit. All right, there's the Jesus. There is Jesus, right? The work of God's Spirit. Say that, man. Oh, I want to read it. Ezekiel chapter 30. Ezekiel 36:25 through 27. The theme of the covenant is picked up in the New Testament, where it is seen as new, yet nevertheless a continuation of this covenant made with Abraham, a continuation of the covenant in Acts chapter 3, verses 24 through 25, and Galatians chapter 3, 15 and 20. Man, you got to read your Bible. And if you ever get one, read this one. Or any ones that have like the footnotes and like the maps and like devotionals for you. Look at. Oh my gosh. I love it. The first journey of the Christian leaders, the ministry of Jesus. Where did it tell us to? The E2, Z2, right here. World of the patriarchs. God called Abraham to leave his hometown in Mesopotamia to travel to Canaan, which he promised to give to Abraham's descendants. Abraham and his son Isaac lived out their lives in Canaan, and then in a time of famine, Isaac's son Jacob moved to Egypt with his entire family. And there's the whole map. Look at all these it gives you everything. It's awesome. Average annual rainfall. Like, oh my goodness. Fertile Crescent is a lot. Oh, that's a lot. Yeah, so the Mesopotamia, Babylonia, right? So all the fertile places. Babylon, Nippur, Lagar, Ors, Mara. So Arabian desert, it says, is the Fertile Crescent. Like, that's what? And cities uncertain location is that one. I don't see any of them. Maybe they were just Egypt. Why do you think God chose Egypt and Israel and that part of the world? Like, what do you think? Ooh, I love this one. Sometimes we can understand something better by seeing it. That's what this section is all about. Here you will find maps, charts, and infographics that together summarize the big picture of the Bible story. When we read the Bible, it can be easy to get lost in its individual stories and to forget that these individual stories of people and kings and nations and churches are all part of a much bigger story. The story of how God takes a broken world, a broken world and broken people, and works to fix them and the world that they live in. It's a story that begins with God calling one man, giving him a family that becomes a nation, from which the Messiah comes to save people of all nations. All the key events in the big story are included here in visual form, along with the Bible text and the notes that accompany it. These pages will help you see how all of the separate pieces fit together. As you see the full picture, be amazed at God's exciting plan to rescue people. What? That's awesome. And it's got like everything, the exile, the ministry of Jesus, prophecy of the Messiah, the plagues, hail, everything. That's awesome. So thank you so much for spending time with me. We're going to get to Ishmael and Canaan and Sodom and Gomorrah and childlessness. And then I think that's where, then we got Sarah. And then that's where we are. Isaac and Rebecca. Yes. So excited! I love you guys. I'm very glad I got to spend time with you. I have to go do a few things before I get my children out for school. Or child out from school. The other one's got vacation this week. But I love you guys. Thank you so much for spending time with me. And I hope I encouraged you as much as God encourages me. You know, I can't get through a day without the bread of life. The bread of life. Literally, the bread of life. Those who come to me will thirst no more. So yeah. just remember, I love you and God loves you, and I'm here for you, just like, God is here for me. Mwah! I love you bunches. Have a great day. We'll see you back here for our more footnotes and more chapters and spending time with God and each other. And don't forget, Mary Kay me. I love you. Have a great day.